blog and the documents. Here's the bottom line, Alex. 60% of the American voters are disenfranchised. It might even be as high as 80%. Out of 319 million in the total population, 240 are eligible to vote. In 2012, 110 million voted. And the reality is that once they vote, and they're generally told how to vote by the 42 billionaires, Congress forgets about us. So what I want to do is bring together the Constitution, Green, Libertarian, Reform parties, and the independents. And I want to create a non-party ticket, and this is not No Labels or Americans Elect. Those were good ideas badly executed. Basically, my dream candidate is Agnes King as an independent with Jill Stein as a vice president from the Green Party. Gary Johnson running a new thing called the Governor's Council. And everybody else on a cabinet that's announced in advance. We have 4 planks: electoral reform in 2015, remobilizing Occupy to occupy the lawns and offices of a very lazy, corrupt Congress when it comes home on its summer recess. Eliminate all taxes, all income taxes, and institute Edgar Feige's automated payment transaction tax. Change the law so that you cannot be eligible to run in the general election unless you first appoint your cabinet and have cabinet level debate so the public can see what it's buying. And last but not least, I believe we absolutely must get to a balanced budget, but that's a balanced budget that has to be formulated by a coalition cabinet transparently in front of the public. And here's my bottom line. If 100 million Americans provide $10 each to a democracy fund, that's $1 billion. You combine that with your show and social media, and I absolutely guarantee we can kick the two-party tyranny out of office.
Well, 10 years ago, I would say that you were being too much of an eternal optimist, but the climate with Gallup poll showing a 7 to 8% approval of Congress and people completely leaving the mainline political reservations, we are entering a time when you could create a coalition-type movement to do this. The problem is they will attack it. They will send in disinfo operatives, and anything that started actually gaining steam would be attacked, as you know. The difference was, though, if we openly talked about it up front, people would expect to see that, and the attacks would actually generate more support. But it is quite a undertaking you're discussing and have on your website.
Well, Alex, I put a small Kindle book up at Amazon, and it hit number 8 in civics. And I opened the book with the YouTube from Eric Liu on what citizens need to know about power. That's the most powerful 17-minute YouTube I've seen in my 3 years of life. I will tell you without any qualification whatsoever, if the independents, Greens, and Libertarians are willing to put aside their obsession with individual issues and come together on the one thing that we can all rally around, electoral reform, I absolutely guarantee I can deliver the U.S. government back to the U.S. public.
Well, let's expand on that, specifically from your training in the CIA or specifically your training in business. From your research and live experience, why are you certain that that could be done?
Well, Alex, the internet really has made a difference. I mean, I'm a huge admirer of Micah Sifry's new book, The Big Disconnect, Why the Internet Hasn't Fixed Politics Yet. And Micah makes a core point, which is that all of the activists today are as fragmented as the activists were in the 1960s when CIA and the Atlantic Council and the Ford and Rockefeller Foundations, they were basically throwing out a lot of money in order to divide and conquer. And we are divided and conquered today. The think tanks in Washington are largely worthless because they're all chasing after bits of money that will keep them in line. The reason I'm certain is that we are now starting to see some revolutionary moments. And I've posted the most popular graphic on my website is called Graphic Preconditions of Revolution in the USA Today. I did my 1976, my first graduate thesis on predicting revolution. And
I'll tell you what, hold it there, because this is so important. You're talking about flashpoints, catalysts, triggered events. We'll get that graphic from your site, put it on screen for TV viewers. We'll direct folks to the website if they're radio listeners. But there are catalysts, and the system may try to launch its own catalyst ahead of time to detonate a false revolution to stop our revolution. So I want to ask you about that as well. This subject could not be more important. Stay with us.
It's very easy to be a criminal. All you need to burglarize a home is one simple household tool, a pair of scissors. If your home security system can be compromised by a criminal using scissors, then you're making it easy for them. Almost every home security system, even those sold by big-name companies, has a weakness: the phone line. You shell out $1,500, get locked into a long-term contract, and think you're safe. But a burglar can destroy your alarm in seconds with one snip. And when a burglar cuts your phone line, you're defenseless. Simply Safe Home Security is the smarter choice. Built by Harvard engineers, Simply Safe uses a wireless connection to call the cops. Scissors can't cut it. And that means your home stays safe. 24/7 professional monitoring is under $15 a month with no contract. Simply Safe Home Security keeps you safer than the other guys for half the cost. Protect your home with the alarm you can trust. Simply Safe. Go to simplysafedefense.com now for an exclusive 10% offer. That's simplysafedefense.com.
What good is a Big Berkey water filter?
We get that question a lot here at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. And in a word, the answer is protection. Protection from water main breaks, E. coli contamination, environmental chemical spills, pesticide runoff, chlorine taste and smell, and all forms of fluoride. Plus, Big Berkey water filters are the original gravity water filter system and most trusted on the market for a reason. Tested by multiple independent NSF EPA certified labs, they are the gold standard in water purification. At only 1.7 cents a gallon, a single set of filters can last for 5 to 10 years. That means big savings. Big Berkey, the one that's powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get a Big Berkey today at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. GCN listeners receive 5% off all ceramic filter systems. Visit our website or call 1-877-99-BERKEY. That's 877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
Alex Jones here. For the last 2 years, I've been working with top doctors, nutritionists, and chemists to design a nutraceutical formulation that has truly life-changing health benefits. So many other formulations out there contain toxic ingredients, synthetic additives, and even GMOs. Introducing the all-new Ancient Defense Herbal Immunity Blend, crafted with over 14 key ancient herbs and extracts to supercharge and prepare your body for what experts admit is the most dangerous season of the year. We have rejected hundreds of other formulations in our quest to bring you what is simply the most powerful and comprehensive proprietary formula that we have ever created in the realm of herbal immunity. Experience the benefits of combining over 14 ancient herbs and extracts with exciting new advances in nutraceutical science. For a limited time, get 25% off on this introductory offer. Visit InfoWarsLife.com or call 1-888-253-3139. That's InfoWarsLife.com.
When an emergency happens, you could be left to fend for yourself and your family. An outbreak of contagious disease can happen anywhere. Because we're faced with more diseases than ever before, we need a better solution than ever before. Fortunately, there is a simple, effective way to protect yourself. Supernatural Silver is a revolutionary silver solution that is clinically shown to be several hundred times more effective than colloidal or ionic silver. And it's powerful enough to help protect you and your family from deadly viruses, bacteria, and fungus. Supernatural Silver is effective against more than 500 different disease-causing pathogens without encouraging drug resistance and without side effects. Supernatural Silver is scientifically supported and is the #1 choice of thousands for improved health and immune system support. Go to supernaturalsilver.com and use the code SILVER2015 for 30% off. That's supernaturalsilver.com. Give yourself and your loved ones a fighting chance.
Waging war on corruption. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
Robert David Steele is our guest. A little bit in the next hour, you can do it to take your phone calls. Formerly with the CIA and actual ground operations. Author, researcher, book reviewer. Got 2 popular websites. And he was just getting into, if you joined us, writing a thesis paper on trigger points. He's talked about this before. If a soccer mom tortures herself in front of the White House and it gets caught on tape, I'm not saying somebody should do this, and it's put out the correct way, you could get whatever the issue was basically changed if it has the public's will behind it already. So trigger events, catalyst, and the establishment knows we've reached this tipping point. I think they'll try to trigger a fake thing like the Arab Spring and then have it led in the vacuum by a bunch of miscreants. That's my concern, is they'll use it as a socialist or communist revolution, not a free market revolution that you and others are promoting. You've got the floor, Mr. Steele. Break down exactly what you're getting at here and the climate we're in right now.
Well, first off, I'm increasingly concerned that Elizabeth Warren is being turned into a Manchurian candidate and that she is the logical follow-on to Obama as theatrical pap. I mean, if you look closely at Warren, she's doing everything she can to protect Fed secrecy, and she's doing everything she can to protect the New York banks, and they're continuing to do business as usual. So I'm extraordinarily skeptical of the progressive enthusiasm about Elizabeth Warren. Now, let me come back to who I do believe in. I believe in Angus King. I believe in John Huntsman. I believe in Jill Stein. I believe in Gary Johnson, although I think Gary should be Governor General in charge of the Governor's Council and focusing on state rights rather than president. I also believe that we're now reaching a point where people understand that the FBI and its false flag movement is, in fact, the sole source of terrorist incidents in the United States. In fact, I was just reading about how a Muslim community has increasingly begun to identify FBI provocateurs and get legal restraining orders against them. So you now have the situation where the Muslims in the United States of America are filing restraining orders against FBI false flag attacks. False flag incentives to attack. This is extraordinary. The citizens are becoming very aware, and they're finding that they can, in fact, fight back and expose all of this stuff. But for me, the long and the short of it is that Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook, Joan Blades of MoveOn, and Jackie Salet of independentvoting.org have the power to bring together not just the former political candidates, but activists like myself and Eric Liu and Richard Wolff, whose book, Occupy the Economy, Confronting Capitalism, is extraordinary. Ralph Nader is also starting to come along. He has a new book out, Unstoppable, which I'm not completely satisfied with. Ralph is sugarcoating a whole bunch of things, and he's avoiding some tough issues.
Sure, he's been on the show many times, and I want you to elaborate on that. But sure, Zuckerberg could help save the country, but instead, he's backing the Democratic Party establishment and censoring people. I mean, of course, your plan would succeed if they put Zuckerberg, behind it. But I mean, that's like saying David Rockefeller is going to get behind it.
Well, I've been talking to some people that write for Salon and a couple of other of these progressive rags. And what I'm starting to find out is that not only are the elites fragmenting, the 1% is actually fragmenting. You've got people doing conferences on inclusive capitalism, and they're talking about redemptive capitalism. That's code for stop the pitchforks. I can stop the pitchforks.
No, you're right. You talked about in England just a few months ago. The Rothschilds are having those meetings.
That's right. Now, what I'm also finding is that the progressives are fragmenting. The super smart people among the progressives are starting to understand. And Teresa Amato was an aide to Ralph Nader, and she wrote a wonderful book called Grand Illusion, The Myth of Voter Choice in a Two-Party Tyranny, and that's where I took the term from. The smartest progressives are starting to realize that Hillary Clinton doesn't have a hope in hell, and that the Democratic Party, as it is presently constituted, is, as I have on the cover of my book, one bird, two wings, same crap. Okay?
Okay.
So we really are starting to see the smart people converge from all sides. I just got off of Skype with Paul Ray, who wrote with Ruth Anderson a book called Cultural Creatives. And he told me yesterday the cultural creatives are now 80 million in number. Imagine if we got each of them to donate $10 to a democracy fund that is neither Democratic nor Republican. That's $800 million. With $800 million, I can crush the rich, because I will have you and the social media, and we will have the partnership among the Greens and the Libertarians, the Reform Party, Constitution Party, Working Families with Bill de Blasio, Justice Emerging with Rocky Anderson. I'm telling you, if we all come together, we can win this. It's not about money.
Well, the climate's certainly there for it. Stay there, Robert David Steele. Long segment coming up.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.